Intel, Mercedes-Benz, Vodafone, DHL, Alienware, Logitech G, and PaySafeCard.
Welcome back to ESL One Hamburg 2018, day number 2 of the group stages. We are just over halfway through that group stage as well, with one more day to go, of course, tomorrow, where the final matches in both groups A and B will decide who goes through into the upper bracket, who goes into the lower bracket, and who is going home for an early bath. Is it going to be one of these two teams, I wonder? Right now, Forward find themselves a game up in their game against NiP. And the other matches that are going over on Stream B and Stream C, they're already into their second games. I can see that Complexity versus Virtus Pro took the opening game. That one is 5 minutes in with an early lead for a no-one Invoker. You won't want to miss that one. Over on the other stream, EVOS versus... who are they playing right
Aster.
now? They are playing Aster, yes. It's 1-0 to Aster, as expected perhaps in that one. They are in the draft right now for game number 2, which is where we will be very shortly. Welcome back to the panel once more. We've got Kyle and Catalyst alongside. As we head towards this this second draft, Kyle, what do you want to see from NiP now?
More of the same. I felt like that was just fine. They had a good game plan. They just don't think they executed it too well.
Too many mistakes?
And I don't like the LC.
Okay. I don't think that won any fans in that game, did it?
No, definitely not. It just felt like they lacked team fight, and when you lack team fight and you make a couple mistakes, the game just gets out of hand so quickly because you one fight and that's GG.
Yep. I know we haven't really covered it too much. We made a bit of fun of it in the aftermath of that first game, but that cheese just sitting there for 10 minutes, it's not something we see from pro players very often. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Just one of those
You're
things?
thinking about, like, the Dota's one of those games where you're thinking about so many things that...
Because normally there's an automatic... Gets overloaded. Everyone knows who's going to take what, right?
It's
usually.
It's funny, though. It's like, it's something every parent and girlfriend of a semi-hardcore Dota player has to figure out, is that it's a game that you can't be distracted during. It's not possible to have a side conversation. Your friends can't come over and talk about the football game on, like,
she can't be standing behind your monitor going like, hey, babe, what do you want for dinner? And you're like, get away from me.
Sounds
I'm
like
in my Dota game.
Yeah. So, the point is, it's very easy to get lost in it. And especially if you're going to try and make a move immediately after the pit, you're not thinking about cheese, you're thinking about Aegis.
Sure, yeah.
And everyone assumes someone will pick it up, but then you get a little bit of the bystander effect, and it's just left there.
Let's also add the point that we did have a very early surprise Roshan from Forward, that maybe that's part of the reason it kind of got overlooked, right?
Yeah, okay. Just some odd mistakes. We are into our second draft, however. Bans completed. What are we missing here? We're missing a Tiny.
Yeah.
And it's been picked and banned in every single game so far at this event.
And it's a hero you like versus Broodmother, right? So you presumably don't have to worry about that 1-2 pickup from NiP.
Yeah, it's so good because it's such a solid 4. It can be played as any core role, and it dominates lanes. And until you change the fact, Ice Frog, that it dominates lanes, or the deny mechanic, it's always going to be picked in the first 2.
So Kyle may have been a little obtuse about this idea of like the signature playstyles that individual players have on NiP earlier, but there are some advantages to it, right? For example, you have this really great Visage player in 33. That is a hero that actually works pretty well against Tiny, right? Yes? No? Kyle?
Yeah, what an acute observation.
Thank you. Throwing it right back at me, huh, Kyle? But the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it makes me think of your run with Complexity, where you guys did have some specific styles, right? And it can be both a limiter as well as like an added effect in your draft. The fact that you have these extra heroes, these meeples and arc wardens and such. Like your guys always had like your safe lane Nature's Prophet that you guys would do, stuff like that. Like, and you have to, you want to be able to play to your players' strengths while still being able to keep like a well-balanced draft that isn't like too focused in one area.
The thing is, you need 2 components now, where you need openers, specifically the cores, that multiple people can play very well, and you also need a whole host of finishers, the game-winning last picks or 4th picks that will actually win the game for you. like there's got to be a varied pool, you know, and there
Right.
you see that at times, you know, the invokers, the morphlings, the trolls, like trolls not exactly as complex, but you know, the meepo, the huskar as well. Like it's no longer cheese to get Huskard. It's
Right.
something that you expect players and teams of this caliber to be able to run and close with if they have the opportunity.
So you like, you know, openers like this where Necrophos is one of those cores that can kind of do a little bit of everything, go to any lane and do well. And then you've got this Chen who's just kind of this lane dominating support who honestly, like, I think Peter, and I agree with you. I think most of NiP's draft was like quite strong from game one.
We've had 10 games with the Tiny, by the way. 7 wins, 3 losses so far. Those losses were Complexity, losing to EVOS. Even though they had the Tiny, that was an Enigma game from EVOS. And then Alliance and Pain have both lost with this against each other, would you believe?
Now, we just talked about this, that you don't actually like Bane that much in the laning phase against Chen. It feels like Chen offsets what is supposed to be your laning phase advantage as a Bane.
It's a bit better when you can cover it with a 4 that deals with Chen very well, and Tiny is one of those heroes. In addition, I like it having raw save against Necro. You can sleep the Scythe and completely avoid the damage, and in addition, you're very good offensively against a Necrophos. But I would agree, it's not always ideal, but at the same time, I really don't like the double melee supports. I keep seeing them lose. Complexity picked it in their first game against VP. I think it got abused. I feel like we've seen that in almost all the games thus far in this tournament.
So you're kind of settling on this being a support Tiny early on?
I think so. I don't want to play a core Tiny into Necro Chen.
Yeah, and this is something that NiP would be well aware of, as they've gotten their support Tiny 2 times in a row in this tournament.
Yeah, Complexity actually first picked the Tiny against EVOS yesterday and ended up using as support, and that was paired with the Bane, weirdly. That was the Invoker Enigma PL game.
The last game, the Chen had a tough time like really getting into the game. It's a product of Excalibur pretty much planting himself in the top lane for 20 minutes. There's nothing to be done up there. And Chen, when you start safe lane, you have a really hard time getting all the way into the enemy safe lane. And another issue, I actually think Radiant Chen is much better because you can control the top and mid towers and give your team a ton of map control. When you're Dire Chen, taking an enemy safe lane tower is very ineffective. It doesn't really buy you any space. So it feels like you're a lot more limited in the terms of what you can do.
So Invoker ban for NiP. There's a TBPL ban from Forward. We were talking about these as complementary cores to that Bane Tiny if they decide to run it as a support combo. And at least 2 of those 3 have been used very popularly so far. Secret have been a very big fan of pairing the Tiny with the Invoker.
Another, again, we mentioned this in the previous game, Rubik Earth Spirit CM. Nice partners with the Chen. You want it to be a roamer so that you have something to play around, utilize Chen's ability to push towers and win you the early game with something that can capitalize, find kills, and give you a nice damage output throughout the game. And also lock down and reach.
Seems like something Alliance have played a lot during the qualifiers. I've seen them watch, I don't know how many games, but it felt like almost every game Alliance were using this Earth Spirit. Whereas very few other teams seem to have been favored. I know EG played it yesterday.
Fnatic were
lost with it yesterday as well, yeah. Which is very unusual. When you see Crit playing Earth Spirit, I always get a little bit excited.
When I see those 2 bans up forward, Terrorblade and Phantom Lancer, the first thing I think of is Luna, which I've not been a big fan of when these teams are picking it, because I feel like it is more of a specific core. Forward have already played it once. The way they drafted it, I think, was a little bit better. They actually saved it for last pick. I saw one team, they just like, 4th pick up Luna, don't know 2 other cores. I was just like, I really don't think that hero's strong enough. That's not a draw ranger, right?
No.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just plug that hero in and say...
Luna's the game winner. Drow is like... Same
Drow
with
is assisting
Bloodseeker.
the game winner.
Exactly.
She's winning, she's helping win lanes for the actual game winner.
There's a lot of big cores banned out this time around. Morphling, Invoker, Lina, PL, TB, Drought, all gone.
You need a lot of damage output now with Forward. You got all the lockdown in the world, but you need something that just gives these stuns something to play around. You can't rely on like a Shaker Tiny roaming the map to win it for you. NiP. Just pick your solid core here. I feel like I love Weaver with the 3 heroes they've selected, but it's a very difficult game for it in the event you were to fall slightly behind. But I just love Weaver with Chen Earth Spirit. It's like this perfect combo. You want something that kind of dives in, and then boom, there's an Earth Spirit on top of that hero as well.
But
and
then
like,
feels quite bad versus Earthshaker Tiny, right? I can see exactly what you're saying there.
this is perfect though. It's the ability to immediately engage with the role with your core, and it's very good in a game where you're playing against like Spectre hates play, or sorry, Bane hates playing against Spectre, and Tiny Shaker are Blink reliant. Spectre just shuts that down. And if you can get on top of the Shaker, these are 3 heroes with static damage output. Spectre loves that because you're all about tankiness.
You gotta put your tiny offlane into the Spectre now, because that's not bad for you, right?
I still think it's got to be support Tiny.
And okay, then core Earthshaker into that Spectre. I mean, either one of those cores I'm okay with, because I think you pressure the Spectre okay at the start. I
like Core Shaker just because you get the Ags timing faster, and it's such a good Ag Shaker game because all these heroes don't really have too much mobility, and you hop on top of a Necro or an Earth Spear, like they're just going to go down. I just think Core Shaker's underrated.
I'm okay with either one at this point.
And Tiny it's such a hard Tiny game right now already.
With the Necrophos especially.
Yeah, and a Spectre, like you just can't kill anything. You're going to blink in combo, and like that's it.
Yeah, well, it's not enough lane Tiny.
Okay. Now it's a safe lane Tiny, I guess. Or maybe there's some sort of weird mid Earthshaker. I mean, that is a hero that pressures Spectre a lot. It's good versus Necrophos.
It's just forward is all in on this idea that they're going to just dominate this game, and I favor NiP's lineup if they can just survive. Like if they're less than 5,000 behind at like 15 minutes, I think they're super favored to win the game. And the draft like forward is much better, I think, if you can threaten towers or Roche. But right now, yeah, you might kill Chen and Earth Spirit 15 times each, but then what?
Well, I mean, Core Tiny at least threatens towers for you.
Not really.
It's not. It doesn't threaten high ground, but it does threaten your those first tier 1s and tier 2s.
I don't know if I'm buying that, Cap. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not negligible, but you're not afraid of like a Tiny in your offlane level 7 alone for 30 seconds. He doesn't threaten a tower like, a Clinks or a Troll or a TB. These heroes that really provide that push power.
So what if you went back for like the Luna pushing core?
Into Spectre? Necro Chen? Ugh.
An AM ban for NiP on the forward. They have the next ban and pick.
That's a very insightful ban by Peter. I think AM solves all the issues we were just discussing. Aegis carrier will be able to play by himself, and there's so many heroes that you blink on top of with your AM, and the lockdown's enough to finish the kill. It's also a really hard counter to Spectre, because Spectre can actually never play against any mage. You have no way to stay on top of them.
A bad and banned.
I like that. I think
that's interesting.
Yeah. It's a great ban too. That's it counters Bat in lane. Right now, Bat has to win the lane to have a game. Abaddon would counter him, be able to remove the lasso and the grip throughout the game. Plus, forward has huge damage issues right now. And if you add another tanky core to the Necro, the Chen, the Spectre, they can't kill anybody. One fight lost, and all of a sudden NiP just walked to a victory.
And a hero that can play fearlessly on the front line, popping these smoke rotations and stuff. Like if Bat Rider doesn't get the right initiation.
Okay, well, there's the other spinner.
Okay.
That's good. That's another hard Spectre counter, I would say. You have a really hard time ever killing the hero. There's no ability to cancel spin TPs with the exception of Chen taking over Troll Creep.
And would you feel like the rest of the team deals with Necrophos enough that you're okay with the I can't Omni-slash Necro?
Yes and no. I still think you have massive damage issues. You're so single target. It's going to be a Rezo Jug, and he's going to have to just go absolutely nuts. I am not... Let's see what NiP does to finish off, but I think if they can address the timing of forward and get their Spectre to 20 minutes unscathed, they're gonna have a really nice time.
So if you're Ninjas of Pajamas, you just want another tank. You want a tanky frontliner who draws attention away from Spectre, offers opportunities, so some sort of initiator. I'm okay with Centaur. I'm okay with Brewmaster. If a hero that builds sustain items is decently nice.
I just want something. I actually think you just go Weaver here.
You want more, like, a damage dealer.
I want something that can lane against Bat or Jug, and I want
Okay.
something that can connect. Because right now, Spectre and Necro have no ability to play with pace, and you have a Chen Earth Spirit. Give me a core that can connect or counter-initiate with a TP and make things happen. Furion is fine with that as well. I'm just concerned that the Bat may have a free game. However, it is one of the worst heroes in Dota right now, but I believe it'll be an MSS Bat, and he's very good at the hero.
At least it's not a puck.
Puck might be one. That's true.
The puck co-op duo.
I was- I was-
Ooh, that was a questionable one.
I was trying to get something worse in there because there isn't much worse
there
in
isn't
there.
much.
But that's one of them. I mean, an interesting draft, very tactical looking draft between these two as well.
Yeah.
And you can see there's a ton of threat on NiP's side. They've got some really good heroes in there, and it meshes quite well, Kyle.
I really like the fact that this Furion puts so much pressure on the side lanes, because you look at this forward lineup, like, it just wants to kill things over and over again.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the best way to be able to play solo on, like, too many of the heroes. Pretty much it's just Juggernaut. So,
And it fills the same gap, right? Where it's able to rotate. Chen and Earth Spirit can make a play, and there will be a Fury in there as a +1. The ult's going to hit every hero if you time it with the Haunt. It's just, like, Jug is a hero. The whole forward lineup is static damage output. If they do enough to win fights, they'll win the fights. But if at any point NiP gets too tanky, like, there's no way to play Dota anymore. So Rezo dies more than twice. There's no way forward take this game.
And there's a lot of threats on
Yes.
that side as well, so got to be careful. Right then, we're all set for game number 2. Big game for both these teams. NiP need the points, but so too do Forward Gaming. They've moved to 2 and 3. Do they go to 3-3? Let's find out as we head back to our commentators for game number 2.
So indeed, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 of NiP versus Forward Gaming. And, well, again, I feel like sort of a new hero coming into the mix. We've got a Juggernaut in this game. This is not a core hero that a lot of people look to in terms of relying on in games. But as we have it, it's coming through on this one. It is, of course, as the panel mentioned, going to be a Resolution Jug. And, hey, who am I to question Resolution? You know, he had an incredible game 1 on his Troll.
Yeah.
So maybe if there was anyone that was going to make the Juggernaut work in 2018, it would be Rezo. So we'll see if he can do it.
I feel like they were looking at this Bat Rider and they're like, oh yeah, Abba, that's a good hero to ban. We should ban that. It's like, what other heroes can even lane against Bat? It's like Juggernaut. And Rezo's like, oh, Jug. Yeah, I feel like playing Jug. Why don't I just play Jug, guys?
It's a classic, you know, Resolution. We know that he loves this hero. And, you know, sort of in the recent metas, he just not really given a lot of chances to get it out and have a go with it. So I'm excited to see what Resolution can do.
Universe starting with the Null and 2 tangos shared up here. He's heading the mid lane.
Oh, he is.
Who does this guy think he is?
Okay, so what are we looking at here? What's this all about? Who's trying to dodge what?
Oh, he's matched up perfectly with the Necrophos.
Okay.
Who also has that queued up. So, I mean, it makes sense. They can't really find a better solution that's going to run the Nature's Prophet mid. So, you want Bat versus Necrophos, and they just chose the obvious answer of, oh, well, I guess they're sending Necro mid.
So down bottom, Sax is able to roll in, is able to grab the bounty rune away from MSS. They'll give MSS a bit of a rundown, but MSS should be fine to get away. Ace actually taking quite a beating there. Does have to pop an early salve as Resolution and SVG punch into the Spectre. And indeed, listen, we'll see this game if Forward Gaming can hit those timings that the panel talked about. If they can really get the ball rolling and run over the Spectre lineup, they're going to be in a great place. As we saw there, though, on the average game length stats for both of these teams, they do sort of tend to take it 40 minutes. So it's the longer end of the spectrum in terms of game times at this event. And that obviously is going to set up for a great place for Ace to be in on the Spectre if they can continue that sort of performance here. It's bottom lane, rolling onto SVG. He will be able to get himself underneath the tower and keep himself safe and away from Saxa. But this bottom lane, at the moment, a 3 versus 3. All the action down here.
Yeah, we got a couple of old school matchups, like this Tiny versus Nature's Prophet was popular for a while when Nature's Prophet was kind of like in every single game. It felt like last year, people just picking the Tiny to use the tree to deal with the treants. And then Bat Rider versus the Necrophos. Now, this usually doesn't take place in the mid lane, and that gives some advantages over to the Necrophos that you wouldn't usually have. It's very easy to get every piece of sticky napalm onto your stick, which is sick, because you can always have vision of the Bat Rider. And then it's hard for him to dive into the tower without, like, perfect stacks and everything.
I mean, yeah, Universe there playing
He's going to get him this time,
aggressive
though.
and deep, going underneath the tower. TP's going to come in. Can they keep Fada alive? They can. Fada will survive. Universe... I mean, he went for that kill. He was ready to dive and dozy-do around the tier 1 tower, but it cost him his life.
Forced the rotation, but that's not going to be enough. If you're not getting some sort of a kill now because the Earth Spirit was gone, then you're going to be very disappointed aside Forward Gaming, and Universe just perhaps a bit too deep on that one.
see this bottom lane. How well can Rezo do at these early sort of stages against the Spectre? It's going to be pretty good for him. He's got SVG backing him up. He can sort of beat Ace away from the creep wave. And if he can get sort of that quick 6 timing, there's certainly Omni/opportunities with good setup from his teammates. As oh no, Universal. Okay, he's got the salve. We'll be fine. Got to be a little careful here, Universe. You know, he's thrown his life away once in the mid lane. He cannot afford to do it a second time against this Necrophos. He doesn't. He did the numbers. He knew it was safe.
He got the wave with him too, so that's gonna help out. He's actually gonna be able to get quite a few of the last center of the tower because he still had some of the sticky napalm on there.
But I like his aggression. You know, you can tell he's excited. He's in this matchup, you know, against a Necrophos. He knows that there's kill potential, and eventually we'll see him get away with it.
Juggernaut's 11 and 21, 7.19.
The lowest
win rate of any of the like.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's been so many games, well, not so many, but the games where I see a Jug picked, it's always like, oh my goodness, they've picked a Jug because they've literally forgotten that there's any other hero in the game.
I don't know. I felt like with some of the games this tournament, Luna might be starting to give him a run for his money, man.
Yeah, Luna's a little bit of a question mark.
Dicey.
That's for sure. As bottom lane, Rezo, he's able to get in with the Blade Fury, get the kill onto Sax. SVG in trouble though as PPD and Ace turn towards the Bane and beat him down. He'll turn with a quick brain sap. Is this going to allow... Oh, Rezo with a healing ward. He's going to keep that man alive.
Yeah, and in the mid lane too, they used the Fisher block there on the Necrophos and the revenge kill.
They will get the kill. Universe will lose his life in return though. Sax rolls forward. But already we're starting to see on the bottom lane a little glimmer at the possibilities, the Resolution Juggernaut, the plays that we can expect to see him come out with as the game goes on. And as I said, build-wise this game, he's going to obviously start with that Aquila in the face boost. I do wonder if he's tempted to go for the Battle Fury, because it's not a bad game. Yeah. And he loves his Battle Fury on sort of these Juggernauts, these Troll Warlords. He may do it again here.
I mean, you saw Ace yesterday after their 2 games. He tweets out, like, getting to play 2 A-Mage games in a row, like a carry player's dream. And Rezo, I mean, 2 Battle Fury games in a row. We all know these carry player loves this kind of stuff.
Absolutely, and I'm sure, I said it's Rezo. I'm sure he's going to try and find an excuse to go for that build again here. As soon as the game goes on, top lane, how are we looking at Excalibur and 33? Looks pretty even at the moment. 33's getting some pressure. We'll see the replay.
This was the death throws of Sox where he throws out this kick to try and help secure the kill on SVG. I think just knowing that he was about to die, of course, he's in the spin. So the kick flies through. And then I thought that was going to be enough. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least
like
he traded for that.
Was surely dead, but with the brain sap and the healing ward, he's able to get out of that. So very nice play, nonetheless. And yeah, the top lane CS 24 for 14 against the 21 for 4. So a fair bit of denies, giving out 33 that level advantage against the Tiny.
This was a really interesting last pick too. As it looks like they're running down PBD in the bottom lane there. The boots on the Jug. Gonna try and TP out.
Mid lane Saxa comes in onto Universe. Universe, can he get up to the high ground? He can. Just surviving. The Orb of Venom, not enough damage to tick him down.
Man, he really is pushing the limits here.
He really is, Universe. It's great to see, but it is going to cost the lane for a little bit of time as he's got to walk back to base without that HP. It's giving more space to the Necrophos in the middle. Top lane 30, I mean 33's getting away with a lot here. Sure, Excalibur's matching him in last hits, but there's a lot of last hits and denies. They need to kill this Prophet now. I've got the setup. Good block off from MSS with the Fisher as they move in. 33, he is trapped here. I don't see any sort of escape. He's got the stick charges. He's running. He's got the Sprout. In fact, he's going to kill Excalibur. Oh, with the Fairy Fire, is he going to get out? He's sort of trapped himself in, but the Micro, he could separate himself from MSS.
There's a Mango Fisher.
And he's going to put MSS is in trouble. The Sprout's back up. The Infused Ranger blocking the Fisher. Man. 33! What a play! What a play on the Nature's Prophet. Absolutely incredible there from that boy. He looked like a goner.
It's one of the underrated aspects about Nature's Prophet. You always have a courier. So this guy has, like, he can permanently spend all of his gold when he needs it, which is something that a lot of offlaners can't do, right? They don't get the courier because the mid and the safe lane need it, but Nature's Prophet can just go home.
Look, we've got to see this again.
He's going to have raindrops.
We've got to see this again. I think this is the replay that people are going to be talking about today. As well, surely this man's dead. He's surrounded. He's been blocked in. But it's what sort of this first movement to separate himself, the stick charge in the down. He knows that he can push him back with a Sprout. The tree's already out. Excalibur, tiny, low armor. He's going to die. And then the fact that he gets... MS has got full HP at the moment, but he is a level 2 Shaker against a level 6 Prophet. 33 knows that. He stands his ground. He turns back towards MSS. Again, the Infused Raindrop, keeping 33 alive. What a player.
He
What
got
an
full
absolute
value
play.
out of both of them too. The maximum block.
Well, I'm sure we missed other stuff going on whilst we were sort of drooling over that play. What happened down bottom? Someone died down
happy
bottom.
to drool.
I mean,
Totally fine.
NiP getting a 2K lead now, 6-3. So I think down bottom they did get a kill as well. There's the setup in the middle again. Universe coming in, but Saxa is there with Fada, and they're doing a good job of keeping Fada alive. There's a lot of times where Universe is sort of seeing opportunities to get in and get on top of him, but he's not getting the kills. Fada's surviving, and Fada's out farming him.
Yeah, and they're trying to make that play before 6. So no lasso there. Maybe if there was, Fada has a chance at least going down, but not really any serious threat without that. And now they're actually going to try and turn the tables here on the Universe, knowing the Firefly is down. He's just dead.
Yeah, look who's here, 33. I mean, he is such a powerhouse at this point. You know, level 8 at 7 minutes in. Yes, please, Nature's Prophet. And this is exactly what the panel said they needed. They needed this sort of 5th pick hero to make the action happen. And you know, sort of keep on par with the pace that Forward Gaming are going to play with sort of this Jug core lineup. And they're outpacing them.
Oh, what a
NiP
kick,
Saxa
mid-roll.
with that setup. The silence as well. Onto the Jug. Resolution has got the Blade Fury trying to back off. Healing Ward's down, but the right clicks are enough. As NiP,
We get to stop with the scythe too.
they're going to get even more. MSS held back. Double kill going the way of Ace. I mean, we said it, you know, game 1, NiP, it was, I feel it was like one of the rougher games they've had recently. It did not look great. They're all over the place. The draft was just a little shaky. But this game 2, they're back with full force. And we'll see how the game does proceed. Obviously, Forward Gaming still with a chance. They may have gone a Jug pick too far. Maybe they got a little too cocky after game 1. Rezo's like, hey, pick me the Jug. Hey, I got this one in the bag. Well, we'll see how it goes, because he's got some recovering to do. 10-3, 4K lead at the moment for NiP. And 33, really the man at the moment. He's going to make very, very good timing on the Shadow Blade as he's 8 minutes in, treads, braces, and 1,100 gold towards the Shadow Blade.
Yeah, if there's one hero, though, that I'd want on my team in a situation like this, it's probably Tiny. As Excalibur is having some issues up top there.
Yeah, the Horn comes in from Ace. Sax is there as well. He's got extra control if needed. Boulder smash down. Excalibur cannot escape from this one, as he'll try his best to run. There's a little TP coming in for 33 as he's looking to block this off if he needs to. He doesn't even have to, as there's the roll forward. The control from Saxa holds Excalibur down. Another kill given to Ace. Of course, Ace, the Spectre, he got the double kill earlier down bottom. Now he's getting that kill on Excalibur top. They're 3 cores at the top of the board, NiP.
And the reason why they make that rotation, as I'm saying, like, if there's one hero you want, it's Tiny, because this guy can just get one item and he can blow up almost any hero once he's like level 8, 9, 10 sort of a deal. So understanding that, NiP want to pressure him. They want to stop Excalibur from getting into that first item, be it Blink or Shadow Blade. So they bring all these heroes up here to just quickly take his tower and use the Haunt on him.
Yeah. Look at this speed that they're playing at.
And now they're trying to use the smoke mid as well, and even if they find this, it's just Saxa. They don't even want him, and he actually just gets pinged out there, it looked like, as there is a Radiant Ward kind of scouting out that area behind the tower. Rezo now uses the spin without TPing, vulnerable here.
He's got Universe by his side.
Yeah, doesn't look like anyone else is going to come for this.
They have got the lasso and the Omni Slash. The lasso and an Omni Slash would do it, as long as he doesn't Ghost Shroud. They're going to play around with him a little bit first. There's the lasso. Rezo has to use that Omni Slash to make sure he doesn't die to the tower. As he will get the kill. They do get the kill onto Fada. Top lane, though, the pressure continuing. Ace and PPD onto a tier 2. 33 is going to come in and join them.
It looked like they just accepted that. Fada just kind of
Let him die.
Like, he's like, yeah, I'm just dead. Okay, cool. But we're securing tier 1 and tier 2 up top. Space taken away here from Forward. And that's all so much room for Nature's Prophet to work with.
It really is. 33.
I was looking at that last pick, and I was kind of more in line with what Cap was bringing up, like some of this like nice sustain. I was like, yeah, kind of like a safer hero, nothing too risky. I mean, Enigma was still in the pool, which I thought was like, oh, okay, that's a pretty classic
That
hero.
would have been a tasty one for 33 as well.
But of course, Nature's Prophet, if you can get a lane domination like that, a couple early kills, like one of the best snowballing heroes in the game, really. You can just be anywhere across the game, and it's not even just the fact that his lane went well. It's like when other lanes are going so poorly, like the middle lane, you just like dump all this bully pressure onto that hero. You just want to keep on putting them back down.
And you know, as I sort of said, you know, Resolution, he is going for that Battle Fury build, but it's going to be a Battle Fury build from behind, which, you know, is never going to be fun to play with. As a team, they're 5,000 net worth behind at just the 11-minute mark. And you're 5k net worth behind a Spectre lineup. I think sort of Carl said, you know, even if NiP were 5k behind as a Spectre lineup, they'd be fine. But they're 5k ahead as a Spectre lineup. This is a disastrous situation for Forward to be in. They've got to do something big to slow this down. They're going to lose Universe here. Mid lane Resolution trying to chase down Saxo. The Sprout South 33 trying to separate the two of them. Resolution should still find the kill on Saxo. Get the boulder smash out 33, punching into SVG. Brains out there as well as the Fiend's Grip. Big kills for Forward as they will find 33. MSS gets the double, and that is exactly what they needed. Resolution keeping his team alive with the healing ward just long enough to allow that Fiend's Grip to come out. They get these big core kills, and they're able to slow down a little bit of that advantage that NiP have this game.
Quick little 4 for 2 there. A little Forward gaming. And all right, so last game that we were talking about this Earthshaker, it was just like, yeah, I think the Earthshaker's gonna come out early in our previous series, and it's like, yeah, I can see how Mineski could totally win this game with like quick blink dagger there for old Febby, and he was struggling. This game over, MSS, he just goes straight for the point booster. He's gonna try and just rush himself in the Aghanims. Yeah. I guess there's no root, so he's looking into being like, okay, it's not that much control for me.
Now look at this game. We'll see this first kill of in the mid lane. Very nicely done to get rid of Universe. Saxa, you know, he's already showing off quite nicely on the Earth Spirit this game, getting some fantastic angles and damage out with the Magnetize. Back in the real-time game, they're actually going to be able to invade the jungle Forward. They do find the pickoff onto the Chen. BPG is going to be out of the game.
Cost them Omni Slash though, so not too big of a deal.
But this game, it's kicking off between these two teams still. You know, Forward Gaming, ideally they want another sort of team fight going their way before they're going to feel confident once more. But there's the ult coming down onto Excalibur, the Haunt and the Reaper's Scythe, taking Tiny immediately out of the action. Now, and the build this game as well, of course, worth noting from Ace, going for the Mask of Madness Spectre.
Trying to play really aggressive with his...
I like it.
I mean, not even just like farming speed, but I think these haunts in with the Nature's Prophet, just like trying to abuse the point they're in.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much space on this map that he can be extremely greedy in his farm time with the Mask of Madness, too.
I mean, you know, you can't sort of forget how much damage he can do. If they find a single target out on their own and he gets on top of him, the Horn, with the 3 points in Desolate and the attack speed from the Mask of Madness, that person just gets, like, it's so much damage coming in at a 13-minute mark.
Well, especially if they're trying to burst people during the Scythe as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Duel had a lot of problems last game, but both Lasso and Scythe have some pretty great partners in this match to try and secure kills during those big ultimates for either team. But it's just about being like there to actually have that synergy. And Excalibur, he's almost into that Blink Dagger.
He's almost there.
So he's level 10, so he's got about 1050, 1100 burst damage. Who can he really bully? That Nature's Prophet, one of the problems with this hero, especially when we saw HFN playing it in position 1, he never got punished for it. HFN had these amazing games, but the hero just does not gain HP. No matter how much you're snowballing, none of your items really help you out in that regard. Or armor, really, for that matter. So he is extremely squishy to someone like Excalibur, who, before even having the Blink Dagger, has an Invis Rune, but yes.
He's hanging around by this position where they have the Sentry Deserver down. He does have backup as SVG gets the Fiend's Grip from the low ground. 33 comes in with the Orchid Silence onto the Shaker, starts to push him away. Fada's still alive now with the Ghost Shroud, yules himself up. He's keeping himself alive amongst all of this chaos as his Forward Gaming that have lost 2, maybe even more. As 33 has the Sprout down. Universe does have the Firefly still available to get himself out of the Sprout. And NiP continue to chase. Universe trying his best to slow them down, but Saxa rolls in, perfect angle, boulder smash onto the two of them. Ace crushes through the Batrider, and now with the silence onto the Juggernaut, Resolution in trouble as well as they group up, surround him. He's got the Blade Fury. He will go for the TP out. Do they have the damage in time? They do. 33 comes in time to offer that final bit of punch to bring down Resolution as well.
They even had Scythe. They weren't even concerned.
As NiP back on track with their stomp, 6k lead, 33 just ruling the game, as we can see here. You know, already Forward Gaming realizing this was not the place to look for a fight. Excalibur being there on the front, getting jumped on as were. It was never going to be an easy fight for Forward Gaming. Saxa making these perfect plays, and Resolution, this Juggernaut pre-Battle Fury, he just can't offer anything at all.
Yeah, Saxa just looking so good on the Earth Spirit. Actually ridiculous. Like, all these rolling kicks he's been getting. Clearly a very practiced player here, it would seem. And he even, this is one thing I love with this hero, is that you can roll, destroy trees, and get these really sneaky high ground wards, too. They can abuse that with both Nature's Prophet and the Earth Spirit. And much harder to de-ward, especially with the prevalence of sentry wards now with the 6-minute timer. MSS needs a lot of space at the moment, which is going to really hurt someone like Rezo or Excalibur, because they kind of want these areas to be farming for themselves. But you have this essentially 4th core that's trying to get into the game here for MSS. So he's gone for this greedier build.
On top, Rezo has to be so careful. I mean, with sort of the mass silence, you know, from both the Air Spirit and the Orchid on 33, this Battle Fury Jug, I mean, as I say, at the moment, not even a Battle Fury Jug. He's nearly got it. He's about 300 gold away from having the Demon Edge. It's such a tough game. It's such a scary map for him to be out on. As he will show himself top. They'll go for the silence from the Orchid. Ace comes in as well. They won't kill him before the silence ends, so Resolution still has a Blade Fury available. That's going to mean that he doesn't have any sort of Omni Slash to play around with to keep himself alive. Even if he did, he was almost certainly dead there nonetheless, as he gets knocked back another couple of hundred gold away from that Demon Edge. That Battle Fury being put on hold for even longer. It's a tough game for Forward Gaming. They need to find someone to sort of make plays around, but you know, Excalibur and Universe, they don't have the farm. They don't have the items to do that. Look at that. I mean, Saxa, he's nearly taking over both the Tiny and the Batrider in net worth. They just didn't have the lanes. Universe maybe played a little too over-aggressive in the middle. Top lane, Excalibur, he struggled against the way that 33's playing, who's having a pretty perfect game on the Nature's Prophet. And that's just sort of left their team in a situation where, what's the game plan for Forward?
It feels terrible. I mean, when you go drums on Batrider, it's when you're trying to like dominate your lane and you just kind of want to chill there and keep farming and stuff. But his lane went very poorly, and he doesn't really have any time to be farming in the jungle. And he doesn't even feel like he can go for a Blink Dagger this game. Seems like he thinks he just needs a hood to even try and be having an impact in these fights, trying to spread some napalm. So not looking like too great of a time here.
And you know, you've got to keep your eyes on this Ace Spectre. He's 2,700 gold towards that relic on top of the Mask of Madness, Treads, and Aquila. And once he has that Radiance, it's going to be so hard for these heroes that are looking to get these jumps. And you sort of Universe on the Bat, the Tiny, the Shaker, all heroes that want to get in on top of them. One of the pluses, of course, with MSS's build being the Aghanims rather than the Blink is that despite the Radiance burn, he is still going to be able to jump in. But at the same time, they've got so much damage coming out in the thick of these fights between the ult from the Nature's Prophet, the Necrophos just sitting in the center of it all, and Saxa each and every time doing so much with the Magnetize.
I like the idea because it gives you a chance if the Haunt comes off to like still have an impact with the Echo Slam, but at the same time, if he's just like hopping through the air, there's a pretty high chance that he just straight up gets Orchided or Scythed.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely very true. Yeah.
And then the fight's just over. And they really need him because they've lost their mid laner. They do not have a mid lane hero this game. This is a Batrider that will get maybe one more big item, and that's it. It's probably going to be a pipe. That's going to be like his last item. MSS needs to replace the mid laner at this point.
Where is the damage? It's just, I'm looking, it's not there. I mean, with the Battle Fury Jug, it's going to take a lot of time. Resolution with this Battle Fury Manta build that he's, as I said, he did it game one. It was amazing on the Troll. This time around on the Jug, it's on a Jug. This is a very different hero in terms of just what the hero can offer outside of the item build. You know, Troll, he's fantastic. He's got actives, he can get in there slow, he can bash, he can control. Jug's not really got that. He walks at you with a Blade Fury, you just walk away and say, sorry, sir, I'm not interested. The Omni Slash comes out, you go, well, we've got about 1.5 million treants that are gonna die for our sins, and we're gonna be fine as a team. So it's such a hard game for the Jug. The only sort of way back in is when you're a couple more items down the line. But at that point, Ace is going to be a couple more items down the line on a Spectre. And he's a Spectre.
And right now, 3-3 kind of on the warpath here. I can see he's hesitating a bit with his ulti. He's like actually trying to get, I think, Peter to move the Chen creeps into an area where he sees them so that he can use his ulti without giving away the ward. Is this what it looked like he was trying to do? It's pretty sneaky. So he's still just kind of holding his ult, hoping someone's going to come and try and push this wave. Really wants to try and get a kill with his Orchid and Shadowblade. But they're starting to get the buddy system engaged here for Forward. Meanwhile, moving up through mid, they have the Yules on Fada, so pretty fast. Saxa, again, just blinks on in.
I'll be a quick free one. I want to pop the Reapers for that one. They'll just beat him down. SVG out of the game.
The Ava, it actually catches Invis 3-3. No one else is here to stop this TP, though. He starts to go for it.
Does Excalibur know to just get out? He should just TP, and he does, but Ace is in, the Haunt, the Mask of Madness. Not quite enough to kill him. Excalibur getting away before the Nature's Wrath connects. Does manage to get out, and hey, that's great news for Forward Gaming. That's the Haunt popped. They don't have to worry about that. It's a little safer on the map for Rezo to farm now without the threat of the Haunt.
That's insane. He dropped to 11 HP. I thought he was dead for sure. That was so crazy.
Oh boy. If that sort of the Nature's Wrath came bouncing for a little bit sooner, maybe
It did hit him. It was the first target.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it only does like 80 some damage.
If it's the first one.
Oh, again, Saksa. He's just jumping on people. There's no punish for this.
I mean, Excalibur's watching from the side, but there's nothing he can do to help his bro MSS. MSS getting scythed down. He's got to sit and watch from the side for 70 seconds.
Recovery kill top, perhaps.
Oh, if they could find 33, that would be a huge, especially if they could get the money for Resolution, but 33 just a little too speedy, keeps the distance. Resolution does now have the Yasha on its way out, so we'll have that extra bit of movement speed himself to catch up to these targets.
So do you think Peter wants to play fast with this triple catapult build?
He wants revenge for game one. He does. He's got his army prepared. All the siege wagons, Carty Jr. and Carty Senior, ready to go on the bottom lane.
It's nice to see some lineage, you know?
Yes.
A little dynasty.
PPD bringing the family back together. He's a family man, Peter.
Oh, that's very much true.
Yeah.
He's really maturing, you know, in his years. He's moving into this fresh new haircut. He lost the old mullet mustache action going with the ball cap.
He's
very
really gone sort of
disappointing.
both ends of the spectrum in terms of hair, hasn't he? Yeah, you say sort of the luscious locks.
It's all business.
The sort of the skinhead anger and aggression. I like it, you know. So someone said it best on the internet. They said, you know, PPD's come over to Europe and now he looks like sort of like, you know, like he's not here to mess around. He's sort of like that British tourist that's turned up and he's gonna throw down. And wherever
is that
he
how
goes.
you are? Is that your people?
That would be. If I saw Peter in a bar, I'd be scared of him. I would. He's a scary man, Peter Pandam. And he's got the look to really sort of instill fears now into his opponents, and it's working this game. Clearly. He has got a fantastic draft. He is, I don't know what the words were to 33, but somehow he really kicked 33 into gear. To be fair to 33, I think he had a good game in game one on the Brood. It was just sort of a very hard game for Heroes to play around him. They have Legion Commander on the team. Again, it was not really Fada's fault for being a Legion. It was just a drop. That was Peter messed up. But this game, Peter did not mess up. He's found something fantastic. And somehow, with his drafting capabilities, he made Forward Gaming pick a Juggernaut. And that really has been the game winner. So Peter Pandam.
And a Batrider, for that matter. So.
Sure, and the Batrider. Yeah. I feel like the Batrider can certainly work more times than the Juggernaut. Especially as a Universe Battler. I feel like Universe
that's true.
Sure, you know, it was one of the finest, but he struggled in the mid lane. He's been pretty much 1-6-4 for the whole game. He's just not been able to get anything done with this bat because he's been playing from behind. As you say, they don't really have a mid laner this game. They have sort of these two awkward offlaners, the Tiny and the Batrider. They just can't really start anything. They jump in, they're going to die. Resolution, of course, still not at a point where he is actually able to come over and join the fights. He's trying to get his Manta start done. But it's all moving too slow for Forward. They had to hit the fast timings. They're in a game now where 24 minutes in, you know, Ace, he's got the Radiance done. How do they kill this Spectre? How do they kill anyone at all?
That's a great question. You hope that Earthshaker can get it done. Looks like a smoke probably coming here soon, and yeah, they will pop it now for Forward Gaming. And we gotta get it done. So we need initiation from the Tiny, and then Universe just has to kind of float his way in there and hope to get a decent lasso off. The scans, similarly placed here, and the Radiant are gonna find out that they're all coming to fight with these bounding runes. I mean, at this point, everyone just... Oh, looks like they just knocked on anything with a haunt, just kind of defensive, but...
That's gonna give them the info they need.
Everyone smokes at the 5-minute intervals, because they want to catch these bounding runes and kill people who are going for them, so teams are, I think, have become much more wary about it, but as you can see there from our runes pop-up, the gold gained, favoring old NiP just a bit more, about 800 gold, pretty solid. And the Aghanim's next up for that Necrophos. So if you're NiP, they've been going very slow in terms of like all this ground they gained at the start of the game. They cleared all these outside towers, and they were like, I think we need more items on our Spectre, and of course they want to wait for that Roche opportunity too.
I mean, I'm excited for sort of that small prospect, that small chance that maybe Resolution can carry this game. And if he does, I got to hand it to him. He's got to be sort of like the best jug of all time if he can win the game for them. Like there is a chance.
If they win this game, it's not Rezo. I'll say that. I mean, Rezo can't do anything at this moment to win this game.
But he may be eventually able to.
If he gets to a point where he can win this game, it had nothing to do with him, because it's going to have to be like this Earthshaker or yeah. It's going to be Earthshaker and Tiny. I mean, Excalibur, 2-4-2 on a Tiny is not what this hero wants to be. This hero's supposed to be a guy who just like wins his lane, gets a kill item, and goes and starts farming heroes and not hitting creeps. but that opportunity was taken away by just how hard those lanes were snowballed.
Rezo after the Manta going for the Shadow Blade, but it does want to, of course, get the Silver Edge eventually of this game to help deal with the late game Spectre breaking through those passives. As NiP, they're into the pit, onto the Roche, and Forward Gaming, of course, at this point of the game, still in full-on recovery mode. They can't go for any sort of play around the pit. They have to let this one go the way of NiP, as NiP will be able to take it, get the Aegis into the hands of Ace. They'll smoke up how long till Haunt's back up? 30 seconds until Haunt is there. But if they can sort of start to find the beginnings of a fight, sort of by that halfway point of the fight, the Haunt is going to be back online, and that's when it's most devastating, when it feels like for Forward that everything's been blown by NiP, but suddenly a Haunt comes out and it chases down all your very low HP heroes at the end of a fight.
It's actually wild to see just how well 3-3's been playing this game.
It really is. This is, I mean, sometimes we really do see sort of, you know, players really just go off on the profit, but what's he got? Some...
just gotta drop a ward in there, you know.
Oh, do they?
Get some vision.
They don't seem quite... I was gonna say, they do have a Tinker ward down on Forward Gaming side, but not quite that far across.
And they're trying to camp bottom, but this is being suspected here.
Thatcher's going to be there.
So. But I mean, this is what I mean. Like, how has 3-3 had such a good game against Batrider, Earthshaker, and Tiny? This guy should have died like 4 times.
The Haunt again, just sort of getting vision. No, they open up onto MSS. They identify the easiest target to take away, and in fact, Sax is able to take down SVG as well with the damage that was already done by the Haunt. Easy finish off from the Earth Spirit as this game just continues to be in the hands of PPD and the boys. 23-9, 14,000 net worth lead. As you know, this is sort of the NiP you expect to see when
steady growth there.
PPD sort of hits the nail on the head with the draft, which he certainly did in this game too. Was not the case in game 1, and he paid the price for it. But this time around, NiP absolutely on point.
Yeah, and playing just very cautiously. The high ground is pretty scary, right? A couple long-range spells there. You got a Bane, that cast range town. Might just catch someone off the grip. You got the Dunk, and then even just Tiny. There's a lot of instant punish onto any of these Radiant heroes, so I would want a couple more auras before I went high ground. They really want that Aghanim Scepter on the Necrophos too, just try and put this game to bed.
I mean, I think sort of as we're saying as well, that there really is no rush for this Radiant lineup. You have a Spectre. You know, is there really any need to go for a push when you don't need to? I don't think so this game.
No, they only have 2 cores.
Yeah.
And you have 3, and Soxa playing like a god, so not really all too much to worry about there. Has to be a BKB, Blink Echo Saber BKB for all Excalibur.
So it really is such a rough game on the Tiny from Excalibur. I mean, the lane, are you sort of expected to suffer that much here when you get left in a 1v1? Like, is this sort of innately the hero's a problem? Do you think Excalibur's just had a bit of a rough game this time?
I mean, obviously he has armor problems in the lane now,
sure.
So that matchup has changed quite a bit. The tree is a little bit different too, whereas like he's really good against getting denies against heroes. Yeah, that's like the whole strength of Tiny. But with all these treants, like I guess he couldn't just clear them out and got bullied way too hard with 0 armor.
See Resolution. Would love to make something happen here, but the Haunt's back up. The silence immediately onto the Shaker. 33 pops down the Sprout. Resolution has to TP away from this, and he does get out. MSS's corpse will be sent flying through the air as he dies during the dunk. There's 2 dead on Forward Gaming. Again, this each and every time it feels like maybe Forward Gaming is able to sort of level the playing field, get a bit of farm. The Haunt comes in, they lose 2 heroes. Always impressive to see that Resolution, despite sort of the disaster that he's in the center of, he is top net worth on his Juggernaut.
Yeah, gotta give him some credit there as they hop on the Necrophos. And the Hand of God, is that gonna be enough?
Rez has got to back off.
It's more than enough.
Blade Fury to get away, and Father kept up. Still 50% of his HP. Universe backing away from Saxa in these trees as the rest of NiP start to push back up to the high ground. Forward Gaming will have the full 5-man backup in a second. They've got a minute left on the Aegis as well, NiP to play with on Ace. As they'll take the range racks. Looking towards those melee as well. Resolution heading in. Again, not finding the catch. Sprouts down. Won't trap any of them. They are keeping their melee racks alive for now. Jump forward from Saxa, goes for the boulder smash.
Again.
The silence as well out onto Excalibur. MSS jumps forward, but he gets orchided by 33. Excalibur trying to toss them back, but the BKB's out on 33. Turns towards Universe. A defensive Nightmare will not save Universe, as he does still get beaten down. Ace now wicked sick on the Spectre. They've taken the top racks, and they'll happily, merrily retreat. Maybe they'll lose Fada. He's very tanky though, and against Saxa with the 3-man combo, Ace just heads straight back in. He knows that they can get more kills out of this one. The dunk comes out from MSS. It's not enough damage. Rezo trying with the Omni Slash, but the bounces take him over to the Siege Creep.
5 seconds to the Aegis.
Ace still ready to go.
They're trying to wait.
Oh, is it? Oh, Ace. Is he going to dodge the tower after the... Oh, okay, he's got the Aegis regeneration. He's good. He's more than good. As Forward Gaming, 3 dead. Yeah. No buybacks. The second set of racks under fire as NiP move in, claim another full set. We'll see if Forward want to hold on for one final attempt at a fight. Their cooldown time is still pretty low on the respawn, so they can get back in. There's no Omni Slash though, of course, as Reza did just blow it on an attempt to make a play up top. And I do feel after this game, we may sort of see Juggernaut return to sort of the, I don't know, sort of the bin that he was taken from. It's not a hero that you can make work very easily at all. Reaper's Scythe comes down onto the Batrider. Bane's out of the fight. Excalibur has respawned. TP's forward, but they can't push them off of these barracks. On Resolution, he does try his best, his hardest with the Blade Fury, but he's a Juggernaut at the end of the day. The Silent Saxa with the combo comes through. Excalibur, he's going to fall as well. GG is called, and NiP taking game 2. And, I mean, it really did sort of start from 33's performance on that top lane to just perfect execution around the map. And I don't know who made the call to play Jug. Maybe it was Reza.
Why are you blaming Jug? This game has nothing to do with Jug.
If Reza was playing any other core hero, he would have been able to do something more.
With who? He had no other cores,
dude. He had so much farm, and he couldn't do anything because he was a Juggernaut.
Where was Tiny? What does this have to do with Juggernaut? There was a Tiny who got absolutely destroyed.
True. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I said I think Resolution played.
His Blink Dagger
he played
so
perfectly.
late.
I'm talking on a hero basis.
There's no hero that would have changed that for him. His other 2 cores were just out of this game.
Sure. I mean, no, you're right. There was a lot of other problems.
He could have been like Ice Frog's like personal hero, and I don't think Rezo could have done anything that game.
But he had so much farm. He had so much farm. He was top net worth. But he couldn't do anything.
Give it to them. I can't do this.
Yeah, we'll hear what the panel has to say. But indeed, game 2 going the way of NiP, and they looked absolutely ferocious. 33 in particular as well.
Tell you what else was ferocious, those commentators, man. Like, what? Just, you know, fight like a couple of Juggernaut and Tinys going head to head. Thank you very much for commentary there. ODPixel and Trent, of course, in series number 3. Let's get the thoughts from our panel members. They're back and ready. Cap and Kyle are here. Juggernaut aside, that was a much better performance from NiP.
Yeah, definitely. It felt like they had a bigger draft advantage. Like, I'm not sure how much of a draft advantage they were supposed to have in game 1, but it felt like it was definitely, whatever it was better than game 1.
No, I mean, well, it helps that 3-3's a god, so we have the draft win,
game, didn't he?
And then he just decides to crush his lane single-handedly.
1v2s.
There's like, whenever you do something, it gets like immediately 7 clips posted to Reddit, you know you did something fancy. So I really don't have much to say about the game. The better drafts win in Dota now more often than ever before, and when you outplay 2, it's kind of just a walk to victory.
You made the point that Resolution needed to have almost a game of his life in this game, and that was a tall order anyway. What did you make of it?
You're playing against a Chen as a Jug in lane. Like, that's not possible. They didn't block the hard camp. Peter got, I think, a Skeleton, then a Satyr. Lane's over. You can't actually win that lane. You can't kill Spectre through, and then you can't harass him either. It's like 11 health regen advantage. It's just, it's an unwinnable matchup.
And you're not going to get good on these slashes as the game goes on. You've got Treants, you've got Chen Creeps, Ghost Shrouded, Necrophos. There's a lot of problems there. Resolution was always going to suffer a bit. The core Tiny didn't look so good. I don't know if, like, is Tiny core still like pretty viable, or do you just always want to see it as a support now?
It needs to be. Tiny core works when you can put it in a lane where it's gonna do better than like any other hero would. It'll trade almost anywhere as a core. You don't want to place it in matchups like
like Necrophos.
Yeah, it's just
like a
it's
hero that
miserable.
benefits
yeah,
from.
And the tiny core never actually like looks good. You don't have the ability to hunt the map against Spectre with a blink dagger because
Right.
it's just not realistic. You can't kill any of these cores. Like it's a snowball hero, and you're never gonna get ahead in a game like that. Like you don't like playing core tiny against Chen for that reason. It's fine as like an offlaner because that's more of it's 3.5 out of 2.
Do you feel like this series going 1-1? I'm walking away with Ninjas and Pajamas looking a little bit better as a team.
Yeah,
Than
definitely.
forward, despite
Yeah.
this being a tie. You know, like game 1, we had some. I think it was some problems, some execution errors from game 1 that lost NiP that game, and it was still pretty close. This game 2, no execution errors. Obviously, they actually over-excelled with 33, and they had the draft advantage, and they just crushed. They dominated forward.
Okay. MVP for you this game? Is it 33?
No question.
Sure.
Yeah.
In fact,
Absolutely.
next time NiP wins a game, I vote for 33 again.
He gets the MVP for the next game, even though he hasn't played it yet, because he played so well in this game.
He is someone who's always been good. I haven't realized like just how good he is. I want to see maybe a couple more days, see him on main stage, but he is making an argument that he belongs in the tier S, the best in the world.
8-2-15, level 21, 69% kill participation, 23k damage to heroes alongside that, and more than anything else, more than the statistics through on the screen, just the way that he played the game in the early part of that game was incredible.
He's a complete package. He can play from ahead, he can play from behind, he makes incredible item decisions, his positioning's excellent. Not many players in Dota can excel at all the positions they're needed to play as their role. A lot of players stick to the cookie cutter,
Sure.
and he certainly does not.
No, in the group it leaves Ninjas in Pajamas now at 3-3, and forward are now 2-4. That means that forward are in a bit of a dangerous spot down there, but they do play EVOS as their last game tonight. That's crucial. They get 2-0, isn't it?
I think they're still presumably going to move forward just because of the fact that Complexity has tough matches where they have to face up against NiP, and again we just said NiP looks better than forward, and they have to face up against Aster. Like, you're just presuming that Complexity is maybe going to win one game out of those 4, whereas forward is expected to win 2, right? Because of against EVOS, I don't think they're going to be able to take a game off of Team Aster, nor do I expect Complexity to do so, but we'll see. I mean, either one of those teams can definitely change their fate if they provide the upset against what is the top team in their group, 6-0.
You never know. It's Eternal Envy. He's always a coin flip, although with this new team, it's more of a D20 roll. But if you get 19 plus, you might be able to take out Team Aster. It's always a possibility.
All right, let me give me your thoughts on the 3 games that we've got coming up. We're going to do Aster versus Complexity here on the mainstream. Forward versus EVOS, which we've kind of talked about already, and Virtus Pro take on NiP. It's a big match for NiP. It's a big test for them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like been the bane of PPD and 3-3 for like the last year and a half.
They're hoping new name, new colors, new brand, new shirts means not the same old problems.
Yeah, it's funny because VP, I think their biggest enemy is themselves in a lot of ways. Like they don't take games as seriously as I feel they should, but for some reason, like they don't have a vendetta against PPD, I don't think, but they always make sure to beat them.
I'm pretty sure they have said that they've kind of got a grudge against Peter. So, and did you see their series against Team Aster? I felt like they got outdrafted in both games.
I felt like they kind of phoned it in the first game.
Yeah.
The second they were like 60-40'd in the draft, and it was a good game, but it was an even matchup, and they just didn't have enough firepower to win the late game.
Yeah, those sort of the things that happen. Don't expect it against NiP.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't think they will. Let's, before we go to a break, why don't we catch up with the winning side, a man who went 8-0-13 in that second game, actually. Ace is talking to Sir Action Slacks.
Thanks a lot, Red Eye, and I am here with the ace himself, the ace in the hole, the special player. Many consider you to be the pocket strat for a lot of teams. Do you feel that way, sir?
I just feel like one position carry player, I guess. Carry player is usually like that, right? So sometimes, yeah.
Oh, come on now. They don't treat you special on that team. They're not always, you know, going out of their way to save your life. You gotta give a little bit of shout out to them.
You know, I got some disgusting heroes up my sleeve, so... You know, I like that.
Right. What's the angriest you ever made somebody in a pub? I've seen you play a lot of heroes that cause rage. Spectre, Lone Druid, a bunch of disgusting stuff. Any the angriest person that you can recall?
I mean, there's a lot, you know. Every time you pick a hero like Huskar Brute, there's gonna be some guy. If he loses, he's always gonna, like, you know, flame the shit out of me.
So. All right. So talk to me about this tournament. What kind of prep did you guys do to get ready for this one? You seem to be doing pretty good so far. New squad, a lot of new pressure. What'd you do to get ready?
We were boot camping in Sweden, Landskrona, for a couple of days. And then we've been talking a bit on, like, scrimming before that. So, yeah. Any teams in particular you guys were preparing for? No, not really. Just preparing, like, our own gameplay. Not looking at other teams, really. Just at ourselves, most likely. All right.
Final question for you. I kind of want to know a little bit about NiP. You know, we haven't seen them for a while. Don't really have the dynamic of the team down yet. How's it different from your last team?
NiP is still really new for me. But it's different. I mean, I don't know. It's just more like the players are different, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I like this team a lot. I don't want to like.
Thank you. Yes, it is a new team, and the players are different indeed. Very informative. Come on. Well, what's the atmosphere like? Less stressful than Secret? A little bit more fun?
It's a bit less stressful, I would say. I don't know. I don't really want to get too deep into all this talk.
All right. You know, this man only knows Dota. It ain't about teams or emotions or anything. This guy likes to kill people in Dota too, and I can respect that. So we'll see some more from Ninjas in Pajamas very soon. Back to you guys up on the desk.
Thanks very much, Sir Action Slacks. Yeah, very politically correct there, Ace. After all, he has just played for two legendary team captains. Doesn't want to make any comparisons too early on. Of course, having just moved across from Secret, where Puppy is captain, to a captain in PPD. So, I mean, it's a couple of big captains he's just played for, Cap.
Why did Slacks make him out to be some sort of sociopath?
I don't know.
He was like, that man doesn't know anything about emotions. He just likes killing people.
Stuff. Yeah,
I am really interested. I hope he asks that question again. I do want to know what
he needs a year. Ask that question in a year from now, and then he's got like a side-by-side comparison. He can't ask it right now. He doesn't know, does he?
Yeah, those are two legendary captains. Yeah. I want to know what the captaining style is. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, I mean, he says it's a bit more relaxed now. Do you understand where he's coming from?
I know the styles of PPD Puppy pretty well.
Puppy's very intense, isn't he? There's no, I don't want to disparage him in any way because he's a legendary captain, but he's very intense.
Yeah, and you know he's like a 6'6".
Is it just the physical difference? Like, you're not afraid of Peter physically. Like, he's gonna hurt you emotionally.
No one's making a slap bet with Puppy. All right, like that's not gonna happen.
No.
I mean, everyone's seen that famous clip of him throwing the headset at the monitor. I mean, he killed the headset and the monitor. I mean. It's scary.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one perhaps in 9 or 10 months'
If he asks you to buy wards, you buying those wards.
Yeah, no problem. Wards are bought. Thank you very much, Kyle and Cap, and also Ace for the interview with Sir Action Slacks there. We're headed to a break. One more series to come, though, and all to play for still in Group B. We'll see you very shortly.